Welcome. In this video, we are going to watch Metallurgy Part 3. First, we are going to watch Thermodynamic Principle of Metallurgy. As we have seen in the previous videos, extraction of metals from their oxides can be carried out by using different reducing agents. So, the extraction of crude metal from their metal oxides can be done by using different reducing agents. As we know already, during reduction, metal oxides will be decomposed into metal and oxygen. So during reduction, we will get metal and oxygen. Let's see with an example. For example, if MxOY is a metal oxide, during reduction, it will be converted into metal and oxygen. Oxygen expels in gas form. So this is metal oxide and this one is metal. If the above chemical reaction, if the above reduction is carried out by using carbon, then we may get two types of products. If one element of carbon reacts with oxygen, we will get carbon dioxide as the product. If two elements of carbon react with oxygen, we will get carbon monoxide as the product. As well as if the above reduction is carried out by using carbon monoxide as the reducing agent, that is CO, then we will get product like this. So two molecules of carbon monoxide reacts with oxygen and we will get carbon dioxide as the product. So a suitable reducing agent is selected based on the thermodynamic considerations. Suitable reagent for a reduction reaction is based on the thermodynamic considerations, and we will study the selectivity of reducing agents in thermodynamic principle of metallurgy. So as we know already, delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S, where delta G is Gibbs free energy and delta H is enthalpy change. And T is temperature delta S is entropy change. So enthalpy change is nothing but sum of internal energies. So sum of internal energy is known as enthalpy change, and entropy change is nothing but it is randomness or disorder of a system. Randomness or disorder of a system. Delta G may have negative as well as positive values. It may have negative or positive values. If delta G value is negative, then the reaction is forward reaction. If the value of delta G is positive, then the reaction is backward reaction. As well as for equilibrium process, delta G0 is equal to minus RT ln Kp. So where delta G0 is equal to Gibbs free energy of equilibrium reaction, R is gas constant, T is temperature, and ln Kp is nothing but it is equilibrium constant. Equilibrium constant. So we know that what is equilibrium process. If rate of forward and backward reactions are equal, then the reaction is called as equilibrium reaction. So in equilibrium process, rate of forward and rate of backward reaction is equal. Usually we denote this arrow mark for equilibrium process to mention rate of forward and backward reactions are equal. Next we are going to see about Elegum diagram. Elegum diagram is constructed by Harold Elegum, and he calculated standard free energy change for the formation of metal oxides at various temperatures. So he calculated delta G0 values at various temperatures. For calculating delta G0 values at various temperatures, he considered that the reduction of metal oxides is an equilibrium process. So reduction of metal oxides, he treated the reduction of metal oxides is an equilibrium process. Harold Elegum has drawn a plot by considering the temperature in the x-axis. So in x-axis he has taken temperature in Kelvin and the standard free energy change for the formation of metal oxide in y-axis. So in y-axis delta G0 is equal to minus RT ln PO2. So instead of ln K he has taken ln PO2 because delta G0 is nothing but it is the standard free energy change for the formation of metal oxides. So standard free energy change for the formation of metal oxides. Due to that reason, he has taken minus RT ln PO2 instead of ln K. In the resultant plot, delta S is in straight line. What is delta S? Delta S is nothing but it is entropy change. That means randomness or disorder of a system. It's in straight line. And delta H, that is enthalpy change, is y-intercept in the resultant plot. So first we should know what is y-intercept. So whenever in a slope the first line, if it is started from y-axis, that is called as y-intercept. If it is started from x-axis, then it is called as x-intercept. So here delta H is y-intercept. This diagram is called as Elegum diagram. Now we are going to see some observations from the Elegum diagram. First observation, for most of the metal oxide formation, the slope is positive, which means the slope is upward. Due to that, it is called as positive slope. This is because oxygen gas is consumed during the formation of metal oxides, which results in the decrease in randomness. Due to that, the slope is positive. So hence delta S is negative. Due to that, delta G value becomes positive. We know that delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. If delta S is negative, then substitute the value. Delta H is positive and T is negative. If delta S is negative, then minus into minus plus, plus into plus, plus. So delta G value becomes positive. Due to that, the slope is positive. Next observation. The graph for the formation of carbon monoxide is straight line with negative slope. The graph is going downward. Due to that, it is called as negative slope. In this case, delta S is positive. Delta S is positive. Then only the value of delta G becomes negative. So as per the graph, 2 moles of carbon monoxide is formed. 2 moles of carbon monoxide is formed by the consumption of 1 mole of oxygen gas. 2 elements of carbon reacts with oxygen and it yields 2 molecules of carbon monoxide. As we know already, delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. So delta H is positive and T is negative. So here delta S value is positive for the formation of carbon monoxide. So plus into minus, minus, minus into plus, minus. So the value of delta G becomes negative. Due to that, the slope is going downward. Here you can see that even though the carbon monoxide slope is negative, it is going in a straight line, which means carbon monoxide is more stable even at higher temperatures. More stable at higher temperatures. Due to that, the line is going straight. Next observation. As the temperature increases generally, delta G value for the formation of metal oxide becomes less negative and becomes 0 at a particular temperature. So delta G is equal to minus T delta S. For example, if the value of delta H is 5 and the temperature is 100, then the delta S value also 5, then we will get 5 minus 500, that is minus 495. So the value of delta G becomes minus 495. If the temperature increases, which means if the temperature is 200 here, the value of delta G and delta H and delta S is same, that is 5. Then here we get 5 minus 1000, which means minus 995. So when the temperature increases, delta G value also increases in negative side. In the Herald diagram, you can see that when the temperature increases, the delta G value is becoming negative, which means the metal oxides are less stable at higher temperatures. Less stable at higher temperatures. Due to that only, when the temperature increases, the delta G value is becoming negative. Last observation, sudden change in straight line. See, you can see here, there is a sudden change in the straight lines for the most of the metal oxides, and this is due to melting or evaporation. Next, we are going to see some applications of the Elegem diagram. So Elegem diagram helps us to select a suitable reducing agent and appropriate temperature for the reduction. So this suitable reagent can be selected by the relative stability of metal oxides at given temperatures. Okay, let's see how we are selecting suitable reducing agents. So in a given temperature, if metal oxide is stable, at a given temperature, if metal oxide is stable, then the oxygen will be combined with metal only. If at the same temperature, reducing agent is stable, but metal oxide is not stable in the sense, reducing agent is stable, then the oxygen will be retrieved from metal and it will be combined with reducing agent. So based on this only, we will select suitable reducing agent for a reduction reaction. Metal can be separated easily. Metal can be separated. So based on this stability, relative stability only, we will select suitable reducing agent for a reduction reaction. So first application is about auto reduction. We are going to see why mercury and silver is undergoing auto reduction. In the Elegem diagram, you can see that for the formation of silver oxide and mercury oxide is upper part of the diagram, and their decomposition temperature is 760 Kelvin for silver oxide, and for mercury oxide it is 620 Kelvin. So it indicates that these oxides are unstable at moderate temperatures and will decompose on heating even in the absence of reducing agents. So they will decompose into metal and oxygen. For this decomposition, no reducing agent is needed. So based on the Elegum diagram, we can come to understand that why silver and mercury can be reduced by simple roasting method. On account of their relative stability, they undergo auto reduction. Next application is about reduction with metals. In the previous video, we have seen that chromium oxide can be reduced by using aluminum powder in aluminothermite method. In this reduction, we will get chromium and aluminum oxide. So from this Elegum diagram, we can understand that aluminum oxide is more stable than chromium oxide, because chromium oxide is stable till 1800 Kelvin, whereas aluminum oxide is stable till 2200 Kelvin. So in higher temperatures, chromium oxide will not be stable, whereas aluminum oxide is more stable. So aluminum oxide is more stable than chromium oxide. At 2200 Kelvin, chromium oxide is unstable. Due to that, oxygen will be cleaved from chromium and it will be combined with aluminum powder to give aluminum oxide as the product. Next application is about reduction with carbon. So in the Elegum diagram, both carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide lines cut across many metal oxides. Carbon line cuts across many metal oxides. Those metal oxides can be reduced by using carbon. Those metal oxides can be reduced by carbon. So as I told you already, carbon is more stable even at high temperatures. In those high temperatures, metals will not be stable. Due to that, oxygen will be cleaved from metal oxides and it will be combined with carbon. So this reduction will be conducted in higher temperatures. For example, in Elegum diagram, iron oxide and carbon monoxide lines intersect at 1000 Kelvin temperature. So iron oxide and carbon monoxide lines intersect at 1000 Kelvin temperature. Below 1000 Kelvin, iron oxide is more stable and carbon monoxide is less stable. So iron oxide is more stable, carbon monoxide is unstable or less stable. So below 1000 Kelvin, it is not possible to cleave oxygen from iron oxide, so that the reduction of iron oxide by carbon should be done more than 1000 Kelvin only. So the reduction reaction should be done above 1000 Kelvin only. On account of this reason only, the reduction of iron oxide by carbon is to be done at 1500 Kelvin. For example, if iron reacts with oxygen, it yields iron oxide, as well as if carbon reacts with oxygen, it yields carbon monoxide. So the Gibbs free energy for the formation of iron oxide is minus 350 kilojoule mole inverse, whereas for the formation of carbon monoxide, the Gibbs free energy delta G is equal to minus 480 kilojoule mole inverse. As we know already, delta G may have positive as well as negative values. If the value of delta G is positive, then the reaction is backward reaction. If the value of delta G is negative, then only the reaction is forward reaction. So here in the first reaction, we have seen the formation of iron oxide. So during reduction, that reaction will be reversible. So reversible in the sense ferrous oxide will be cleaved into iron and oxygen. So then the delta G value should be positive. So it will be plus 350 kilojoule mole inverse. The reduction is done by carbon, so the second and third reaction should be combined. So iron oxide reacts with carbon, it yields iron and carbon monoxide. So when we add those two reactions, the delta G values also to be added. So plus 350 kilojoule mole inverse for the formation of iron and minus 480 kilojoule mole inverse for the formation of carbon monoxide. When we add these two values, we will get minus 130 kilojoule mole inverse. So this is the delta G value for the formation of 2 moles of iron. Then for 1 mole of iron, it should be divided by 2. So 130 divided by 2, we will get minus 65 kilojoule mole inverse. This is the standard free energy for the formation of 1 mole of iron. Next we are going to see limitations of Elegum diagram. First limitation, Elegum diagram is constructed based only on thermodynamic considerations, that means delta G, delta H and delta S. It gives information about the thermodynamic feasibility of a reaction. So feasibility in the sense possibility. It gives information about the thermodynamic only. And the third one, it will not give any information about the other reactions. Other reactions in the sense, as we know already, ore is combined with gangue. So Elegum diagram will not give information about the chemical reactions of gangues. And the fourth one, the interpretation of delta G is based on the assumption that the reactants are in equilibrium with the product, which is not always true. So these are the 4 limitations of Elegum diagram. Next we are going to see electrochemical principle of metallurgy. So as per the thermodynamic principles, reduction of active metals such as sodium, potassium are not possible with carbon. So as per the thermodynamic considerations, reduction of active metals are not possible with carbon. Thermodynamically, such metals can be reduced by electrochemical methods. So those metals can be extracted by electrochemical method. And this electrochemical method is called as electrolysis. In this technique, the metal salts are taken in liquid form. So metal salts will be taken in liquid form. The metal ion can be reduced by treating it with some suitable reducing agents by electrolysis. The Gibbs free energy change for the electrolysis process is delta G0 is equal to minus NFE. Here N is number of electrons involved in electrolysis. F is Faraday constant. E0 is electrode potential. As we have seen in the thermodynamic principle, here also, if the value of E0 is positive, then the value of delta G0 becomes negative. Let's see how it is possible. So delta G0 is equal to minus N, so minus plus F, and E is positive. So plus into plus plus, plus into minus minus, delta G0 becomes negative. If the delta G0 value is negative, then the reduction reaction is spontaneous, which means the reaction is forward. As per the electrochemical principle of metallurgy, more reactive metal can be extracted by using less reactive metal. So more reactive metal, which is in the solid form, should be added to the solution containing less reactive metal ions. So initially more reactive metal is in solid form. It should be added to the solution which is containing less reactive metal ions. During the electrolysis, more reactive metal will go into the solution. More reactive metal will go into the solution, and the less reactive metal will be converted into solid. So more reactive metal will go into the solution and less reactive metal will be converted into solid. Let's see with an example. If copper is to be extracted, then it should be electrolyzed with the aqueous solution which is containing silver ions. After the electrolysis, copper will go into the aqueous solution and silver will be precipitated. So initially copper is in solid state, which is added to the solution which is containing silver ions. After the electrolysis, copper is going into the solution and silver is precipitated. If zinc is to be extracted, then it should be added to the aqueous solution which is containing copper ions. After the electrolysis, zinc will go into the solution and copper will be precipitated. Here initially copper was in aqueous solution, zinc was solid. After the electrolysis, copper was precipitated, zinc ions get into the solution. So next we are going to see electrochemical extraction of aluminium. So electrochemical extraction of aluminium, also called as Hall-Héroult process. In this method, electrolysis is carried out in an iron tank. Electrolysis is carried out in an iron tank. So for electrolysis, anode and cathode are important. So cathode in the sense it is negatively charged, anode in the sense it is positively charged electrode. So cathode attracts cations, anode attracts anions, because anions are negative, cations are positive, so oppositely charged ions will be attracted. Here cathode is carbon rod and anode is the electrolyte, which means the aqueous solution will be acted as the anode in this extraction process. For this process, 20% solution of alumina. So alumina is nothing but it is obtained from bauxite ore. Bauxite ore. It will be mixed with the molten cryolite. Molten cryolite. So what is molten state? Molten state is nothing but metal will be melted and it will be in semi-solid, almost it will be in liquid form. So melted liquid metal is called as molten. This mixture will be taken in the electrolysis chamber. So in this extraction process, which one is electrolysis chamber? The iron tank is the electrolysis chamber in this reaction. So this reaction will be conducted in higher temperature. On account of that, calcium chloride will be added with this mixture. Calcium chloride, that is CaCl2. Calcium chloride helps to reduce the melting point of the mixture. Reduce the melting point of this mixture, because this reaction is carried out above the temperature of 1270 Kelvin. Above 1270 Kelvin. Due to that, calcium chloride is added to reduce the melting point of the mixture. So in the extraction of aluminium, first step is ionization of alumina. So in the ionization step, alumina will be dissociated into Al3 plus and O2 minus. So here cation is Al3 plus and anion is O2 minus. In the cathode, cations will be attracted. So here cation is Al3 plus. So it will be reacted with 3 electrons and we will get aluminium metal in liquid form. Here Al3 plus is cation and O2 minus is anion. Next in the anode. So in anode, anions will be attracted. So O2 minus will form into O2 plus 3 electrons. As I told you already, here anode is carbon rod. So this carbon also will take part in this reaction. So it will react with oxygen. It will form carbon monoxide and 2 electrons. If it reacts with 2 oxygen ions, it will give carbon dioxide and 4 electrons. Due to this, carbon slowly consumed during the electrolysis. Carbon will be slowly consumed in the electrolysis. So the overall reaction, the net reaction is 4Al3 plus 6 O2 minus plus 3 carbon, and it will give 4 aluminium plus 3 CO2. So this is the extraction process of aluminium. Thank you for watching. Remaining parts will be taken in the next video.